welcome to the next bloody episode of On Screen. I'm your host Dylan Wright, and I'm here to take you on a gory journey through film and television. So when I said that there might be a new theme for March, I decided I was gonna go with it. Now you would think that it's March Movie Madness because alliteration, but I decided I wouldn't know what to do with that category. So we're just going to talk about directors this month. We're going to talk about famous directors and their different movies that they put out, the different motifs and recurring themes and elements that happen within all of them. And we're going to start off by talking about one of my favorite directors, Quentin Tarantino. Before I get into that, however, I want to talk about the pretty funny ending to the 89th Annual Academy Awards that just happened on Sunday. I am so glad that I watched live to see Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway announce the wrong Best Picture winner because they were handed the wrong envelope. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing that can happen, and I mean, it's happened twice with Steve Harvey. But it's just pretty funny and it goes to show that nobody's perfect, and even these high-flung celebrities that we watch every year dress up really nice and basically reenact the beginning of the Hunger Games where they present the tributes. It's fun to see that they are fallible, and they are known to make mistakes that, might affect people. But enough of that. Let's get into talking about Quentin Tarantino. Now, Tarantino is kind of a divisive director because his work tends to lean towards the violent side. There's a lot of swearing and profanity and a lot of blood and gore within his works. And the dialogue that he puts in his movies is pretty distinct in that it's filled with pop culture references. There's a lot of profanity, and it's an acquired taste for someone who's not used to such blunt kind of presentation. But the way he does blood and gore is that he overdoes it in a way that it becomes funny, and it's almost kind of a panache of like the really bloody and visceral movies. It's to the point of ridiculousness. You'll have this giant stream just spurting out of somebody, and he makes you kind of laugh at stuff that you really maybe shouldn't be laughing at. He does it in a way that it becomes funny. It goes from the macabre and goes towards the humorous side. His first movie was Reservoir Dogs, which is a great movie if you haven't seen it. It's basically about a bank robbery gone wrong. But you don't actually see the robbery itself. You only see the beginning and the aftermath of it. And they think they might have a mole on their crew, and they're deciphering who it could be. And we see flashbacks to their lives before they went into this bank robbery. It's a great first start for a director. It was shot basically in just one little warehouse. So the budget was pretty small. And he got like the likes of Harvey Keitel and Lawrence Tierney and a young Steve Buscemi to be in the movie. So it's pretty star-studded as well, and that kind of brought him some attention. It led him into his second movie, and possibly his most well-known movie, Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction doesn't really follow a traditional narrative structure, and that's kind of what makes it unique. It hops all over the place. It has almost like an episodic structure where we follow Samuel Jackson and John Travolta's characters, and then, okay, now we're going to Bruce Willis's character, and then, now we're back to John Travolta's character with Uma Thurman's character. And it bounces around, and it connects in ways that you never expect it to. It's a work of art, honestly. It's a brilliant movie. It's, again, a star-studded cast with a bunch of brilliant actors. Christopher Walken's in it for a scene. Samuel Jackson steals the show with his speech he gives to these people that stole something from his employer. It's one of the most famous sequences in the movie, and the movie's full of lines that people recite all the time. It's a classic in the purest sense of the word. There's not much else you could say about it. It's renowned for a reason. It definitely influenced a lot of modern cinema. It also showed Tarantino's influences in of himself. A lot of his movies have direct homages to other movies that he grew up with. Kill Bill, 2 movies that he did later on down the road, have these old samurai movie type sequences and almost a Western feel at times. And then he even does Westerns with Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight. Even within those, there's other references to other genres. Like The Hateful Eight kind of has a vibe of the movie The Thing, which one of the stars of the movie, Kurt Russell, is actually in The Hateful Eight. So he's a man that loves movies, and it really shows through his filmmaking and through the references that he makes within his films. One of my favorite films from Tarantino is the movie Inglourious Basterds, which presents kind of an alternate history of World War II. It starts off with this brilliant sequence where Christoph Waltz's character, Hans Landa, he's a Nazi that's hunting Jewish people. And he goes to this French farm and has this kind of interview/conversation with the French farmer, and he ultimately gets him to give up this Jewish family that's hiding. And it's a really tense sequence where Christoph Waltz is really reading the room really well and the situation. His acting is amazing in the movie, and everybody in the movie is so good. Tarantino knows how to direct actors, unlike George Lucas. But the way that Christoph Waltz gets in the skin of this Nazi hunter of Jewish people, it's creepy, it's macabre, but there's also like a slight hint of a person that maybe if he wasn't a hateful Nazi that loves hunting people, you might get along with them. I mean, that's really tough to say, but still. And it's a movie about revenge and a movie about consequences of actions, and it's also a really fun action movie. We have this band of allied forces that are all Jewish hunting Nazis and basically scalping them. It's gross, and it has kind of an exploitation feel to it, but it works within the realm of the movie. It just does. It's amazing. I can do nothing but gush over Quentin Tarantino. I mean, he does have his problems, but the way he shoots film and the way he writes film, it's captivating. You can't deny that it grabs your attention and doesn't let go. Also, it's nice to see more violence done upon people that have condoned and perpetrated such hatred within the world. It's a nice little release of tension that you get to see these hateful people get killed. I don't know. That might just be me. But it just goes to show that Tarantino is a man that appreciates what came before. And especially his latest movie, The Hateful Eight, he did special screenings of the movie that he called the roadshow screenings, where he went to various cities around the world, shot the movie in 70mm film, and projected it in 70mm film. He extended this roadshow version so that there would be an overture, an intermission, and a throwback to how movies used to be shown in theaters. He even had like a little program book that you got when you went to the thing that detailed, how the film was shot and the different actors in it, just like the programs that they would give out during, old Hollywood screenings. And he really appreciates the art and the time and effort that goes into making a film. You could tell that he just likes film. I keep saying that, but he really does. Tarantino is a man that appreciates where he comes from, and the influences that have affected him are plain to see in his work. And it's always nice to kind of judge a lineage of filmmaking through a director's work, and I think Tarantino is the perfect example of that. So my Netflix pick of the week are any Tarantino films that are on Netflix. I think Pulp Fiction's currently on there. I thought I saw the Kill Bills on there. They're all great. None of them are really bad movies. Some of them might be slow at times, like Jackie Brown's a little slow at times, but when it picks up, it's a really fun movie. Just go out and watch Quentin Tarantino. And next week, I'm going to come back with another director, but until then, that's all the time I have left for this week's episode of On Screen. If you or anyone you know has any suggestions for future topics, please let me know. I would love to cover anything that you'd like to hear. And until next time, the path of the righteous podcaster is beset on all sides by the inequities of the movies and the tyranny of evil television. Take care.
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.